Hey guys, it's me. It's May 24th. I wanted to make another video to let you know I am done with my first semester of the nursing program. Thank God. I'm on summer vacation now, which is very exciting for me because I've never, well, since moving to Austin and starting working towards my nursing degree, I've never had a semester off. I've gone 6 semesters in a row, including 2 summers, full blast. So this is my first semester with no classes, so it's very nice. I'm going to be working still in the hospital 3 days a week, which is full-time, but no classes, nothing to study. Maybe I can actually read a book that's not a textbook. So it's done. It was a wild and crazy busy semester, but it was great. It was really, really good. I love my program and my campus, and I had really great classroom experiences and I think even better clinical experiences. Learned a lot. They said there's just such a huge learning curve in the first semester of the program. It was pretty amazing. I had a really good time, learned a lot, and I think I liked the clinical portion the best. Really had a good time there. So I have a little sheet here with just a summary of what we did in case you're interested. So I thought I would kind of go through that just to let you guys know what the first semester was like for us. So we had 2 classes that were separated into 8-week portions. We did one first and then another one the second 8 weeks. They don't do that in all the semesters, but they did in the first. So our first class was just called Foundations of Nursing. It was just kind of an introduction to nursing kind of class. A lot of background and history and the practical aspects of nursing, a lot of information about legal stuff and documentation and the nursing process and all of that, as well as some basic, I guess, healthcare related topics, which was fine. It wasn't always all that interesting in class, but you gotta do it. And then we did a lot of checkoffs, skills, lab time, and checkoffs. They wanted to get us checked off on the majority of our skills right from the start, so that for the majority of the semester we could be doing them in the clinical setting. So the first several weeks of the class, I'd say the first 6 or 8 weeks, were really intensive. We had 2 classroom days, at least 1 lab day, and then 2 clinical days. Plus we had to study, plus we had to be in the lab practicing our skills for our checkoffs and everything. So it felt like every week we either had a test or a checkoff, or both, for at least the first 6 weeks or so. It was kind of nuts. The beginning of the semester, I think I already mentioned, we had to do a comprehensive skills checkoff from our nursing skills class, which we have to take before we get into the program. I already said that too. It's basically like a CNA course. We have to take it before we start the program. It just gives you all the basically CNA skills. So we started the semester with a comprehensive checkoff on those kinds of things like vital signs and ambulation and bed baths and all those kinds of, CNA type things. The first day we had a physical assessment lecture, which was like 8 hours long. It was a long day, but it was just kind of a big summary on how to do a complete physical assessment. Then we had to do a checkoff on that just a few days later. Next, checkoffs were on med administration. We did oral meds and then injections, all the parenterals. They mainly focused on, giving oral meds and injections, but we got to learn about eye drops and nose sprays and all those kinds of things, patches, and so we did that. The next was catheterization. We did NG and PEG tube skills. We learned to insert and remove NG tubes and then do meds and feedings through those, and the same with PEG tubes. We did all of those in the first 8 weeks, so that was a lot. But they checked us off pretty quickly on them, and then we were able to do them in the clinical setting. And then in the second 8-week course, that was called Common Concepts of Adult Health. Basically just maybe like Med-Surg 1 kind of thing. We were much more focused on pathophysiology and kind of focusing on body systems or specific diseases. That second 8 weeks we just had one checkoff, which was a wound care checkoff, and then full speed in clinicals. So everything went really well. I was lucky enough not to fail any checkoffs on my first attempt, which was nice. They're always stressful, that's just part of the program, but they went well. Yeah, so I guess I will quickly summarize the topics we studied in our classes, just in case you're interested. Obviously everything's different for everyone, but this will give you kind of an idea of what we did, and then I'll talk a little bit more about clinicals. So let's see, in our Foundations of Nursing class, I won't go into depth, I'll just summarize the topics. Our topics were physical assessments, nursing as a profession, the aging process, the nursing process, sensory perceptual, rest and sleep, inflammation and infection, documentation and reporting, end-of-life care, activity and mobility, spirituality, nutrition, and then legal ethical topics. So kind of a summary of basic concepts and then just a little bit of getting a little bit more into depth with a few topics. The second class was called Common Concepts of Adult Health, and our topics there were diabetes, pain management, respiratory system and oxygenation, wounds and the integumentary system, cardiovascular, neurosensory, perioperative care, upper GI issues, lower GI, and then urinary tract. So that's kind of our topics. We'll go into more depth, obviously, as we continue through the program. So it was really good. We had 3 classroom instructors. One of the 3 was also my clinical instructor. I loved her. She was fantastic. Just amazing. Our clinicals, we were in my group, we had several different sites, but my group was in a neuro rehab hospital. We were the only ones that were not in an acute hospital. That was actually the site I was hoping to get, though. I work with people who've rotated there, and they said it was kind of their favorite clinical rotation of all. The people who were in acute hospitals, most of the patients in an acute hospital have an IV. We don't do anything IV related until our second semester, so if your patient has an IV, there's not a lot you can do for them as a level 1 student. In the rehab hospital, most of our patients did not have an IV. They either had oral medications, or a lot of them had PEG tubes or NG tubes, and they needed a lot of care. Some of them were stroke. It was all neuro issues, so we had a lot of stroke patients or things like that, but a lot of young patients were there after motor vehicle accidents. It was really sad. But they needed a whole lot of care. The good thing for us as students was we really got to do a lot of things. Some of our patients had just, the students who were doing acute hospital rotations, sometimes they had like 2, 3, 4, 5 oral meds to give and maybe an injection or 2 for their patient. We had patients who had like 26 meds, different meds that we had to do on like 3 different med passes. Practically all of them were diabetic, it seemed, so we were doing injection, and we have to draw from vials. They also didn't use the pens there, so and things like Lovenox and all that. So we did a lot of injections, a whole lot of oral meds, and we got to do a lot of PEG tube, NG tube stuff, a lot of catheterizations. A lot of the patients, because of their injuries, needed intermittent catheterizations. So we all got to do a lot of those. The only thing I didn't get to do from our skills checkups was an insertion of an NG tube. Nobody got to do that at all this semester. But it was really good. It was really, really good, really busy. We started off with 1 patient. Towards the end of the semester, they allowed us to move up to 2 patients if we wanted. I actually requested to take on 2 patients before anybody else. I felt ready. So I took 2 patients on 2 different occasions. I guess most of the class only did that 1 week. So it went really well. The clinical site was kind of old-fashioned. All of their charting was paper charting. They had like 1 computer in the whole hospital, and it was at the charge nurse's desk. So everything was paper charting, which where I work as a nursing assistant, everything is electronic. So it was I had to learn all of the documentation and charting on paper, which I'm not a fan of. Some people liked it better, but anyway, it was just something else to learn, and really busy. We did 2 clinical days, 2 8-hour days per week, and I guess that's it. Yeah, it was just a great experience, really busy, really stressful, but fantastic. So if you have any specific questions about my first semester, let me know. Otherwise, until then, I'm on summer break until August, and we'll be working as a nursing assistant in the hospital full-time and doing all kinds of relaxation in the meantime. So that's it, and I hope everyone's doing well. Congratulations to all the people who've graduated just recently. I'm very jealous of you. And if you're in the program, congratulations on another semester down. And if you're waiting to hear whether you got into the program, I'll cross my fingers for all of you. Take care and hope to hear from you. Bye.